In this episode, Project Style begins. We've got our segment looking at the Running Man. We've got our hot topic, Tim is the best shuffler in the world. We've got our first look at the We Dance Hard music movie. And we've got a couple of tunes from Heatbeat, chart-topping artist ripping up trance stages all over the world. But first... Hello everybody in TV land. This is the Shaboogen Show, episode 2 in the video, I think. You should be seeing Hiltzy. Say hello to everyone, Dan.
Good evening.
Alright, now something that I've wanted to do for a very long time is finally get this motherfucker on camera again. For everyone that doesn't know, who's lived under some sort of shuffling myth, rock, something like that. If you don't know who this guy is, you have a problem. But, just in case, this is Len. Leonard Hall, the guy behind We Dance Hard.
Hey guys.
Hey guys. Feeling awkward?
No, I'm alright.
You alright?
Oh, good.
Len doesn't get on camera much anymore. He is more the directorial man. But yeah, it's all good times here. Feedback. Now, firstly, a really huge thank you to everybody out there that has commented in one way or another. We've had a lot of likes come through on the posts on Facebook. We've had a lot of likes come through on the videos itself, as well as a lot of comments and things, some email come through as well. We are going to get to all of that. I suppose the biggest thing is obviously, as I said, big thank you first of all. We really do appreciate all the feedback. It's awesome to see that there are some people out there who are still getting out there and having a rock. Sorry, if you just hear noises in the background, there's so much technology in this room right now. If you obviously get it out there a little bit more, we would love to see more feedback come through from everybody. And, in all the different ways. So obviously, at Shaboogen Show on Twitter, we have had some tweets come through. We'd love to see a little bit more banter happening on there. We've got, obviously, the Shaboogen Show at wedancehard.com. That's our email. We have had some email come through, as I said. Good thing about the email is that it is getting in depth. I did have a little bit of an issue getting back to people in a timely fashion. We've resolved that now. Mainly because I've got myself a little bit of time management skill. And beyond that, obviously, on the Facebook group as well, just come in there. Comment on what we post is probably the easiest to start a conversation with us. Now, I thought I'd go through some of the feedback that we've received. I'm not going to go through a lot of it, but I'll just read out some things that are cool. We had a couple of people comment on the hot topic itself. So, ep.2, guy whose videos I've seen sort of here, there, and everywhere. Quite a cool rocker. And here's what he had to say. So, dead, not online. The definition of rocking varies drastically, but rocking in communities, I suppose. For me, personally, rocking is not dead, but really hasn't been alive in my city. Personally, I've not had the same experiences as those on the show have had. I seldom rocked in clubs, so I've learnt and shuffle more through my headphones. Safe to say, it's a drastically different vibe because you are living in the beats differently. Despite that, it's still a good escape. 3 to 4 years of shuffle. Any thoughts on that, boys?
That's impressive.
It's impressive.
3 to 4 years of shuffling purely online and just through what other people have posted. That's, you know what I mean? Shuffling isn't dead in that way. It's more than alive. But, it's different for us. We're used to going out to clubs and doing everything there. So,
yeah.
Different, yeah.
Dan, about the same for you, I guess?
Yeah, pretty much the same. We all started, or as me, I started with, as I've mentioned, Oscar showed me some videos and we started practicing a little bit. We didn't actually think about or know that was happening within clubs because all the videos we had seen were, online. Then we quickly found out, yes, it was in clubs. I'm not going to lie. The scene, going out to a club and hearing loud music, studio quality, just, picture perfect, having the lighting and a lot of people around you dancing, you can't beat it. And yes, I guess that is why we kind of come to the assumption, so to say, that rocking is dead. And in that sense, yes, rocking is dead within the clubs where we are, but it's definitely not dead online. It's probably as big as it ever was online.
Online it seems to be kicking. Now we've got another guy coming in. I'm going to keep this feedback mainly about the hot topic. Chaps Rathers, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. In Sydney, we've lost subbies, old and the new lol. I guess that's kind of true. Impulse and HSU. We still got old, massive, and daydreamers for our hard dance cravings. There are some rockers around, mainly the ones like myself, who refuse to conform to Hacken/Gabba. Keep rocking, everyone. It's all about having fun and expressing yourself. Smiley face. Yeah. A pretty sort of staple. There was a bit of feedback on the Hiltzy. There were a lot of people that were really happy about that. Someone asked for a tutorial on the Hiltzy. I thought that was funny. Any thoughts on that? Is there a tutorial on the Hiltzy coming?
There will be a tutorial on the Hiltzy coming. It's not something that I've tried to develop. It's just kind of something that's it lied dormant within my soul.
There you go. You heard it here first. We'll probably stick it in the show at some point. Maybe. I'm sure you'll see some of it in the next episode, and we'll tell you about that one a little bit later. But yeah, look, really good feedback. Thanks a lot. Keep getting the word out there. We are going to be doing a lot more with the show. A lot of people commented on Shaboogen Watches videos. They want something a little bit more in depth. At the moment, that's more of just a fun thing that we do at the end of the show, while the credits are rolling, because people think me watching videos is kind of funny. I know my girlfriend does. I know Len does as well, which is the whole reason it got started. We will be doing some in-depth stuff on videos and things. I think we're probably going to get a bit of project style out of the way first, because then we'll probably start talking in that terminology. But yeah, that's the feedback. Now's the part of the show where we talk about the hard tune. We are going to keep it fairly similar to the way that we did in the previous episode, where we're going to have a hard tune and a soft tune. This is the hard tune. It's by DJ Husband. It's out on PhD Digital, and it's called Relax Your Soul. Relax your soul. DJ Husband with Relax Your Soul. That's out now on PhD, Pure Hard Dance Digital Recordings. Let's go to the folks first. Len, what do you reckon?
Yeah, that's Melbourne style all the way. That's why I travel to Melbourne, to hear that sort of stuff and dance to it in the club. Thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
2, there you go, not just 1. It's funny because that guy is from Sydney, but it is a very Melbourne style tune.
It's a PhD.
It's a PhD release.
So
yeah, so
it is that sort of style.
Yeah, look, it's what they're renowned for. It's what they were renowned for in the PhD days, is playing that big driving sort of awesome hard trance goodness. Now let's talk to our man in Melbourne right now, but appearing on this couch next to us, I think. Hiltzy, what do you reckon?
Yeah, like as Len said, it sounds Melbourne all over. You know, typical kind of hard trance, big build up. It is very, for me, a very kind of evil sounding melody, so to say. Doesn't make it bad. You know, there are evil, there are kind of light, you know, really uplifting melodies. And for that one, it's just a very kind of really just get into it, have a good rock to it. And yeah, once again, as Len said, it sounds typical Melbourne. It sounds like, you know, something that you would hear here every weekend.
To make you want to dance?
Yeah, of course. The question is, does it make Len want to dance?
Well, I guess that's a big question all the time now, isn't it? Would Len dance to this
Yes,
tune?
I would. If I'm not holding the camera, I will be dancing to this song.
Random things there. No, look, I like it. It's well documented now. I'm not a huge fan of hard anything anymore, but I enjoy that. I heard a DJ Husband podcast around DEF CON time, because I was very shocked he wasn't playing. And it's sick. Like, he plays good tunes. He plays a lot of tunes like that. He makes a lot of tunes like that as well. Get out there. It's number 9 on the Track It Down Top 100, believe, of hard dance
As
at
we
the moment.
speak.
As
Climbing.
we
Is
speak.
it climbing?
Climbing. It could be climbing. If you guys get out there and purchase it, it will be climbing. Okay. We Dance Hard does not support piracy, but. Look, definitely get out there. He's an Australian. We are big fans of Australian music, except for later in the show. We're fans of something else. But Australian music's always good. Australians are doing really well in EDM in general. So it's always good to be able to feature good Australian music that happens to be like really awesome as well. So get out there, give it a buy, and go from there. We are moving on to the hot topic. Now, this hot topic has been suggested to us by SDF0. SDF stands for Shuffle Dance Freedom. Not the name for a crew I would choose. I just wanted to get that out there. But Zero has been a guy who's been out there rocking for quite a long time. He's been involved in the melbshuffle.com community, and now he has a bit of an involvement in shuffling.net. And he suggested this topic, which is Tim, or T1M. Tim is the greatest shuffler in the world, ? This is, look, we like talking about the controversial here, because I'm quite a controversial figure in general. There's a lot to say on this. I think for a change, I'm going to go last on sort of the first round, and then we can just chat about this sort of stuff. So let's start with Dan over here. Dan, Tim is the greatest shuffler in the world, ? What do you say?
Look, I mean, everyone has their own greatest shufflers in the world. For me, the greatest shufflers in the world is Matt and Pay. You know, like, it's just as simple as that. You tell me, no, Sacco is the best shuffler in the world. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm great mates with Sacco. Like, I spoke to him about 3 hours ago. But no, he's not the greatest shuffler in the world. I personally don't like his dancing. And I've told him before that, you know, I don't like his style of dancing. That doesn't make it bad. It just means it's not the greatest in my eyes. I'd never heard of this T1M guy before until very recent. And so I've gone through his videos, which, mind you, were really badly edited. They've been edited so it's all offbeat. So I made sure that I found it was a live footage video of him having some sort of, it was like in a championship, like a battle. Look, we spoke quite in depth about Running Man being a huge part of shuffling within the dance style these days. I didn't actually see any shuffling within this person Tim's dance. To me, watching him dance, it's a new style of dance. It's not shuffling. It doesn't even fit within this community that everyone around the world has built. It's, you know, this big mixture of the Malaysian style where you're doing, you know, lots of big jumps, a big mixture with the old school Melbourne style using, you know, huge side to side movements and using quite a large area. That's typically known for the outside of clubs videos because, I mean, as you can imagine, you see our videos within the Melbourne clubs and the Sydney clubs, you don't have huge amounts of room. You have to deal with what you've got, and hence why the Melbourne style has developed how it has, with using a confined space and focusing on style, on rhythm, making sure you hit the beat right, you use the gaps and the breaks in between perfectly. So, I mean, this could have a huge part to do with how his style has developed like that. There's a lot of things in it that, you know, I typically have been calling twinkle toes, where, you know, he does these little with his feet and then jumps and then and then starts getting into it again. But there's no shuffling in between. I'm going to basically say it like, you know, I basically said, you know, he may be a few people's the best dancer in the world, not typically mine. I personally don't think that he's good at all. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of hate on this, but I really don't care. It's, you know, he's changed his style of dance. Awesome, good for you, but it's not shuffling. You know, shuffling, T-step, there's nothing in it. It is Running Man, side to side. It is huge friggin' spins that I haven't seen since, you know, Daniels and Sacco. And I mean, I was out at HSD event with Daniels, with Francis, with Michael, all, you know, the old school Team S boys, about 3 weeks ago maybe. They don't do those spins anymore. It's kind of out of date in my opinion. Once again, you know, like, I don't know what the scene is like overseas, in Russia, in Malaysia, everywhere. You know, if battling is the thing that's done there, and if spinning is, you know, you get 12 points for doing a 1400 RPM spin, then awesome, you know, go for it. But, you know, my opinion thrown out there, I don't personally believe it's shuffling. I don't personally believe it's that good, and I wouldn't personally say that he's best in the world, no.
All right. Strong words from down there. Okay, Len, what do you think? I know the question is obviously very directed, but it's more of a topic on Tim in general, T1M, whatever. By the way, if you are out there, tell us how we're supposed to say your name. It'd be really helpful. Len, what do you think?
Yes, the question is he the best in the world? And straight up I'm going to say no, he's not the best. But that being said, I have lots of respect for what they're doing in the Russian scene. It is different, as Hiltzy said. We're used to sort of the more linear style shuffling, where you're in a club, you're in a tight space, so you do what you can with what you've got. So it is a different style. It is more side to side, and you use that momentum to do bigger moves, obviously. And I respect that. I respect that they do have a battle scene. We don't have that here. It is more of a battle scene in Russia, where it's 1 versus 1 or crew versus crew. And that's more what you would see in, say, b-boying. And b-boying is decades ahead of what we do in shuffling. So, in a way, they're doing things which we're not doing, but is he the best in the world? The moves that I've seen coming from Russia, we've done those moves. We've done them in the past. We're doing moves that they're not doing at the moment. So, I would say they're good at what they do, but they're not the best. There are a few shufflers that they have good styles. They've refined their styles to a point where they can, you know, rack up lots of views on YouTube. They can get a good following. But, you know, I respect what they're doing. I do like some of his moves. I do like how he stops at certain points and poses. You know, people might hate on that, but it goes with their scene. It is a battle scene, and it is more of like, you know, what you can do, I can do better. I can prove myself. Yeah, it is more showy.
Well, that's something straight out of like b-boy styles and all that sort of thing.
It is. So You can't really compare it to b-boying. It is much more primitive to what they do in b-boying, but it is similar what they're doing. So in that battle style, I do like some of the things he's doing. He's got some good spins. His running man, his energy is really good. So, but as Hiltzy said, some of it, might not be appropriate to do in a club scene, but is appropriate in a battle scene. So it makes a difference to what we're used to. So it's good. It's good what he does, what they do in Russia. I respect it, but I wouldn't say it's the best in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think for a change, I'm probably going to come across less angry on this particular topic, which is a little strange. Is Tim/T1M the best shuffler in the world? Hell fuck no. Like, it's as simple as that. Right? I think where I draw issue more than the guy, because you know what, there are a million guys out there who are all doing a million different things. And a style is, I guess in a way, all styles are equivalent. So what I do is different to what you do, which is different to what Hiltzy does, different to what Matt does, and everything like that. There are similarities across the board, but there are enough differences that you can say this guy dances like this guy and this guy dances like this guy. My problem then comes, there are two issues. One, when you do a comparison of styles, you kind of get to this point where it's a waste of time. There are styles I like. I'm with Dan where I'll say I'd rather watch Matt dance all night than watch this dude dance for 20 seconds. Like, his style doesn't appeal to me personally. That's one. But is there anything that makes one style better than another? You can talk about the techniques of it. You can talk about what Matt does versus what Tim does in specifics with reference to the dance. That you can do. But when you can say this one is better than this one, it's kind of a weird comparison because they're not doing the same thing. The second place where it falls down is the idea of shuffle legends in general. Now, I know it's odd because I'm sitting next to two of them, or like this. Or I'm friends with a lot of them. Like, I'm friends with Brenton. I'm friends with Josh Green. I'm friends with all the other big rockers in Newcastle. I'm friends with the dudes in Sydney. I'm friends with the dudes in Melbourne. All of these dudes who are the shuffle legends who've one time held the entire scene that exists on YouTube in the palm of their hand. I understand how that's happened. But the problem that then springs out of that is this retarded amount of fanboyism, which is really, really annoying. Like, there'll be dudes that love Tim, T1M, whatever, that will go onto a video of Tractor, who's another guy in Russia, I'm assuming. And they'll go onto Tractor's vids and they'll be like, Tractor sucks, Tim's the best, blah, and they'll throw the hate down there. And then there'll be people that will go the other way. Tractor guys will go on the Tim's page, Tim sucks, Tractor's the best, oh my god. And then you get these dudes, these fans of Russia who will go onto Melbourne rocker sites, and they'll go, this is outdated shit, you should be jumping around and kicking people in the face, and then we'll kind of go onto their pages and go, the fuck are you kicking people for, what's with these spears, it's like, you get all of this rage and hatred about nothing. It's kind of a waste of time. If you like rockers, which we all do, we all have personal preferences. I mean, at the end of the day, we dance hard. I guess you could say it is representative of a style. Because we all are fans of this one particular style of rocking, which is the style that originated in Melbourne and kind of what sprung from there. And what these guys are doing isn't that. There are things that Tim does I think are awesome. He does a toe spin in one video. It's insane. It's straight out of hip-hop. But I think it's quite cool. Do I like the fact that he pays absolutely zero attention to the music that's on? No, I think that's garbage. Right? The style dictates what you do. The music dictates what you do. Always. It should. But the moment that you then start putting folks on a pedestal and then using that pedestal to try and attack another pedestal to legitimize a style or delegitimize another one, that's where it kind of becomes silly to me. And I know there are going to be people that watch this video that know me from the past and will say, you hate on people more than anyone. Which is true, but it's more on a personal basis. Like, I think that if you're not doing the moves correctly, that's a problem. One thing I will say about Tim, he has the stone cold worst footwork I've ever seen. I don't think he knows what a T-step is. And if he does, he doesn't do it correctly. So I take issue with the techniques of his moves. And either Carpeep79, who's the dude who hosts all these videos, is the single worst editor ever, or he's danced on beat once. So whichever one of those things it is, I'd like to know. And like the people who blame YouTube for this, YouTube sent my video off beat. No. Okay, this is a dude who made videos for 10,000 years. None of them are off beat. So take your argument and shove it up your ass, because you're full of shit. Sorry, I said I was going to be less angry, didn't I? But yeah, on that point, with shuffle legendism, given you two have been that, or are that, do you agree or disagree on that point? I guess Dan, go first.
I do agree on that point. As you mentioned, fanboys, like, I've got people that swear by me being their inspiration, their favourite shuffler in the world. Then I see the other people saying, wow, like, Pay's amazing. Even Pay lost his style for a while and was very confused about how he was dancing, and then he kind of got it back and was thumping it again. Even when Pay was just dancing at probably his worst over his shuffling, timeline, people were still like, you're still the best, Pay, you're still the best. And that's the thing, people are going to stick by their favourite forever. I've got people that once they've seen Melbourne Rockers 2, they were just like, that's Hiltzy, he's my favourite. That's King, he's my favourite. There's typical Pay, just smashing it. And they would stick by those people. And it's the same as, so obviously I'm one of the admins on Shuffling, ! On Facebook. We have over 180,000 followers. I posted up one day when we were in our prime, I think probably about, it reached 125,000 people, most likely. And it was just a simple question: who is your favourite shuffler? No debate, just who is your favourite shuffler? I went through every single comment, and if memory serves me right, there was a couple hundred people posting on that. Majority of them were still following by Rocket, Mickey, and Sacco. Now, let's go back to Mickey's old style. Side-to-side movement. Yeah, that's all fine. Let's go to Sacco's old style. Huge side-to-side movement. Massive spins, like more spins than I've ever seen anyone do. To this day, you all try and match Sacco's spins. I'm sorry, but you are fucking terrible compared to Sacco in the sense that he's the fucking spin god. Fucking nearly lifts off half the time. The thing is, as we mentioned, kind of the dance has progressed within Australia. Mickey and Sacco don't do those spins anymore. They don't use huge movements. Mickey dances, on a solid beat in a small confined space, does his quick spins, does a lot of glides, does a lot of tricks, and he dances to the song. You've got your basic beat, 32 beats within a song, 16 beats, something will happen, 32 beats, around about, something will happen, whether it's 28, 29, and in that part, we will do a spin, we will do a slide. They will use the song to enhance their dance, and that's the difference between people trying for showmanship, spinning around, jumping around, and not really caring what song is on. Hence the people that dance a new style, and as I said last episode, I don't dislike new style. I love new style. There are a lot of new style tracks that I still play within clubs and even just listen in my car on the way to work. The thing with a lot of new style tracks is it is just basic dong, dong, gong, gong, and it's just straight out through, and it's not something that you can shuffle to in the sense that you're shuffling to the song per se. It's just a lot of noise. It's, you know, it can be good noise, but it's just not something that you can really express yourself and show that you're not just only dancing because you love the dance style, but because you love that song that's playing in the background, and you're dancing to that song because you want to tell people, you know, I love this song, I love this music, and here it is through my dance. Once again, Sacco, Mickey, they don't do these things anymore. They've realized that it's time to evolve. As you know, you look at hip-hop dancing, let's look at pop and locking. When it first started, there wasn't much to it, whereas now people pop and locking, it has developed to the point where it's all about showmanship. It's all about trying to make the person laugh while you're doing it, as well as the movement. A lot of gliding added into it, whereas back in the day it was just kind of standing there, pop, 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 and then back to some b-boy dance moves, and then up, pop, pop, pop. Whereas now, like, people have got entire dances through pop and locking. Within shuffling, as I said, like, it's evolving, and it is getting to the point where more people are doing this confined space, solid rocking, shuffling. Yes, they may throw in huge spins or those weird Malaysian things on the floor, which, don't get me wrong, you know, they do look cool sometimes. But yeah, look, I mean, it's getting to the point where you need to worry about what you're doing. And as Shaboogen said, like, Tim's footwork is plain and simple. It's horrible. Like, you're moving so fast, and you're worrying about covering so much ground and building up so much momentum that you're going to be able to still spin 12 times within one jump, that your footwork is just sloppy, and it's not straight on. It's here, it's there. Is he about to shuffle? No, he's stopped. He's doing twinkle toes. Like, you need to kind of concentrate on the basics a little bit more. Plain and simple. I've never really, and this is going to come off very cocky from me, I've never heard anyone talk about Tim, ever. I have people adding me and sending me videos all the time, and adding us on YouTube, and I have people sending me emails every day, sending me videos and asking what my details are on Facebook, and, you know, if they're down in Melbourne, can they come meet me? They want to see me, and all these videos posted. I hear about Mickey, I hear about Rocket, I hear about Sacco, I hear about all the T1M boys, all the HSK boys, all of us Hardgen guys, all the Sydney guys, Newcastle Rockers, but I've never heard about, and I've even heard about the German Rockers quite a lot. I've heard about a lot of people from Russia, from Brazil, from Malaysia. I have not heard about this Tim person, so the fact that it is still coming up that, you know, kind of, is he the best dancer in the world? In the legend perspective of it, I don't think so. I don't know how long this person's been dancing for. You know, maybe he's still progressing.
I think over the last year, he's sort of popped out of. There's been this movement that's been kind of an undercurrent that's been going on at the moment, where I think it was happening towards the latter stages of melbshuffle.com, where people were like, you must have a unique style. You must have a unique style. And it was the single most important thing that people started valuing is you must have a unique style, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, being unique, not looking like the guy next to you, is always cool. But what then happens is you focus on having a unique style as opposed to having a good one. And you then end up here, where you've got a guy who is unique. He doesn't look like anyone else. And that's cool. From that standpoint, he ticks that box. But he doesn't do anything correctly either. The shuffling step is either non-existent or just horrible. Like, as opposed to shuffling side to side, he might as well just be hopping side to side, which is practically what he does. And things like that. Now, if you like that style, cool. But my problem then is that fanboyism tends to put a layer. It's like rose-colored. You've heard the saying rose-colored glasses, where everyone always looks back at the past and they're like, "Oh, that was so good." When in reality, half the reason you do that is because you're remembering something better than it actually was. And that's what happens with a lot of this fanboyism. When people watch Mickey and Sacco and all that sort of stuff, like, people will say this straight away, people that know the post that I made previously. Hell, I had arguments with Hiltzy over this very thing, which was they weren't doing the moves correctly. way back when. And I was like, but you're not doing the moves correctly. Yeah, but we're famous. It's like, no, but you're not doing the moves correctly. And you'd get 1,200 fanboys that would pop up, be like, just don't attack, And you're just like, well, you're looking at this through the eyes of a fan. And this is kind of my issue, is if you want to herald a guy as God, cool, feel free. But look at that guy in perspective. Look at that guy accurately. There are a lot of... It seems to be something that's really big in Russia at the moment. You know, there are a lot of these Russian guys who have all started doing this post-LMFAO style, which is we're going to pose, we're going to do all these jumping things, we're going to have giant afros. No, they don't do that. I wish they did that. That'd be fucking awesome. Right? If you're going to make videos with giant afros, please do. I'd be very happy to see that. Link them to me. But you then kind of gloss over the parts that made the dance important and made the dance cool in the first place. And I sort of jumped in before Len got to have a go. So
That's all right.
That's all right. Go on.
That's fine by me. What's the point? The fanboyism?
Yeah, fanboyism. Like it's you guys have had your fanboys. I know of Len fanboys. I know of Hiltzy fanboys who were quite willing to just, you know, essentially put Vaseline over their eyes before they watch you and just, oh my god. So what do you think about fanboyism in its place, and this is the best shuffler in the world, etc.?
Yeah, I like it. Bring it on, baby.
Do you like it because you like being the object of fanboyism?
No, it just shows passion. It shows that they've got energy to put into something, and if it's into this, then do it. Okay. Watch the videos, put your opinion out there, say who you think is the best, and back it up. You know, I like people getting angry. Do it.
But it's the backing up that's the point where I reckon it falls over, because we'll put this accuracy, and I reckon this will happen. We're talking to a really specific audience on this show, right? So once this show happens, I'm going to perform an experiment, and if you're watching this show, if you're one of the 1,000 or so people that's actually watching this, you're probably not one of the 10,000 people who's watching a Tim video. So I'm going to perform an experiment for you. I am going to attack Tim on YouTube, right? Just as an experiment, right? Because look, honestly, I don't give a shit. Whatever, dude is a rock. I don't like it. Dudes do fuck. Whatever. We have our scene. They have ours. They have theirs. They're in Russia. Like, we have nothing to do with it, really. But I'm going to attack Tim or any insert shuffling legend here. I'm going to attack them on YouTube. And you watch what happens, right? You'll probably get, if anyone pays attention to the post that actually happens in the first place, or you know what, you can even go do it now. Go look at any negative comment on any of these videos and go see what the reaction to it is, right? The reaction isn't, someone will be like, this guy is not rocking, he's just jumping around like a faggot, some people put in there, or whatever it is, right? And you watch, that post will get downranked to the point of it won't even show up unless it's spam filtered anymore. And the amount of people that will post, oh, shut up, you're gay, man. Like, they're not coming up with arguments. That's what my problem with fanboyism is. If you want to have a conversation about this sort of stuff, cool. Like, by all means, feel free. But bring terminology, bring accuracy to the table when you do it. This guy's shuffling is bad because of XYZ. Well, I think this guy's shuffling is good because of XYZ. Have a conversation on the merit so that someone brings a point forward. That's cool. But the moment you then go, this guy is bad because of XYZ, well, you know what? I'm not going to answer any of that. You're just a shit cunt. I love Tim. He's the best. I want to suck his cock. Whatever it is. If the moment you start doing that, your opinion is a waste of time. Right? And that's kind of my problem with fanboyism. So my point is, Tim is the best shuffler in the world? No. But you know what? No one else is either. right? You have your shuffler you like. That's cool. I love Matt. I love Len. I love Hiltzy. I love all the Melbourne guys, all the Sydney guys, and everything like that I've watched and talked about and everything like that. That's the shuffling I like. That's cool. Right? You like jumping around, fairy spinning, twinkle toes guy? Cool. Feel free. You're allowed to. But don't then start using that as a wedge to then attack people when your guy clearly has some faults. You know, if someone came to me and said, you know what, Hiltzy doesn't use his arms enough, and brought a legitimate point to my table and said, this is what the go is, it wouldn't be right for me to go, well, fuck you, you're gay, you don't know anything, Hiltzy's the best. That's retarded, right? The point would then be to go, well, Hiltzy doesn't use his arms as much as this person because of X, Y, Z. It fits the song, or that's what the style is, or whatever it is. You have a legitimate conversation. The moment it's just my edict is bigger than yours, it's a waste, right? So that's my view on the hot topic, and all I'm going to do is basically repeat it. Len seems to be relatively positive on it all. He's relatively positive about everything. All good. This is why we don't have him on camera. And Dan hates Tim, calls him out. Come to Melbourne, have a battle.
I'll battle you.
It's an official call out.
This is an official call out.
Let's do it.
B-boy style. We'll set an event for it. But look, whatever your view, I mean, we got asked to talk about this, and it wasn't just Zero, because there are a few people out there that kind of want to talk about this, and there are other topics that have been suggested to us that we do want to tackle as well. Rowan's brought up cruise. It's something we'll probably want to do in future, and there are other topics as well that will happen, and whatever you guys do in over the course of the show, if there are topics that you want to talk about as well, we do want to get to those too. But yeah, very important. Actually, not important at all. What the hell am I talking about? That's the hot topic. We love talking shit. Tim, you suck. Or you're good. Who cares? Last episode, we promised you guys a first look at a project near and dear to these guys' hearts. These guys? That works. It's called the We Dance Hard music movie. Now, we have one episode of it to show, do we?
Yeah,
we do.
We do.
So this is your first look at the We Dance Hard music movie featuring him. Or him.
The Lost Memory. lost memory. The lost memory.
So that was an episode of the We Dance Hard music movie. Now the music in that video was Splinter's remix. You'll probably find a theme on this show that we use a lot of Splinter tracks. One, they're cool, and two, they're free for us. But it's the Splinter remix of a Nish song called The Lost Memory. Now, first thing I noticed, because I didn't really have much to do with this, even though it's on my show, it's a little different. It's not your standard, I'm going to get in a circle or something and just shuffle for a minute and stick it out there. Len was the director of this, Hiltzy obviously the star. I'll talk to you first, Len. What was your idea here? What did you want to do?
I want to tell a story.
Tell a story.
About Hiltzy.
About Hiltzy. Now what do you think? What do you think on that? It's a little bit of an ambitious project in terms of trying to tell a story through this medium. There's no speech in it, so there is a script, I guess, but there's no dialogue to drive things forward. So
it's all Hiltzy. It's pure emotion, pure acting ability. But it is based on Hiltzy's true story in a way, in that you do see Oscar, Hodge, the Hard Gen trio, as they started out, and a sort of a falling apart which may have happened in real life. Hiltzy, do you want to touch on that?
Look, I mean, me, Hodge and Oscar, you know, obviously we were inseparable. We were out too much. We were out on a Thursday night. I would have work. Oscar would have school. Hodge would have work. We'd finish, all three, would head out, would have a dance all night. We'd go home and would go straight to our day lives again. I was at work. Hodge was at work. Oscar was back at school. Bam, we're out again. Like, we loved dancing that much, and we loved being out together so much that was just us. Like, you know, making videos, hanging out. It was just everything had to do with the rave scene, with the music, with the love of the dance. As we, you know, Oscar obviously finished school. I got a new job, but was a little bit more demanding, and then I went back to university. Aaron got a new job once again, which was also, or Hodge, sorry, that was more demanding. So we kind of started to drift away a little bit. Especially with Oscar, which no one would know, we had a falling out with Oscar, and we didn't actually talk to him for, you know, it was anywhere between a year and 2 years. There was no communication with us. We have recently, I mean, obviously, as you can see, we are featuring together again. We have kind of mended our wounds. We have decided, you know, we love this scene, we love this dance. Why did we, you know, stop doing it as much? Why did we stop trying as much? And it's kind of brought our love for it all back together. And I mean, it is kind of what the video symbolizes. It's a lot of people are not going to understand the video. It makes perfect sense to me, makes perfect sense to Oscar and Hodge. A lot of people aren't going to understand it. It was a simple fact, and as you've seen, you know, we're together, we're doing our thing. I'm a little bit lost. All of a sudden feel betrayed, you know, they're not there anymore. I'm wanting to get back into the scene. They're not there. I gained my inspiration back again. But as you see, Brenton in the video, you know, people like him, the new age shufflers, gave me back my inspiration to get back into the scene. You know, we saw a huge rapid increase of shufflers and people progressing and loving it and wanting to get into it. And then all of a sudden it just kind of went to this halt where there wasn't anybody kind of arising to step up and be the next best. And then Newcastle Rockers just, you know, came out of nowhere and just bam, they were there. They were amazing. And it kind of, you know, got that inspiration back and just got to the point where, you know, we were out, we're happy again, and we've all realised that, you know, the scene never ended and we can still do what we love doing.
Yeah, I just wanted to show that in the movie, or at least in this episode, the life of a shuffler, as Hiltzy has been through what he talked about. So showing that sort of camaraderie, having your crew with you, and doing everything together in that room, watching videos and learning together and just having a good time. And then sort of the other side of it, how you still are part of a scene, but things are falling apart and you're not sure why it's happening, but you still have that passion, you still want to keep at it. And sort of new beginnings, meeting new people in the scene, starting anew and just finding that passion again and getting into it. Yeah.
Yeah, so look, it's a very different sort of project. I mean, as I was there while it was being filmed and things like that, but as obviously an outsider on the project, it's a very sort of personal project. Like, it's a personal story to start with for Dan, but it's also a personal project for Len in terms of filming something that's a little bit more meaningful. And I would assume whatever anybody gets out of that's really up to them. I mean, you can either just watch it as a dance, you know, there's some dancing in it and things like that, or you can just watch it and you can try and, you know, identify with the story or anything like that. The one thing I'll say, because, you know, this thing has my name all over it, and by the way, I'm probably going to say this at least once a show. It didn't get in the last episode, but I'm going to make sure it gets into this one. The Shaboogen show was not my idea. The name. That was not my idea. Blame this guy over here. Anyway, don't hate on it as a, oh my god, there's not enough dancing in it. because at the end of the day, that's not what this is for. And it's about, it's almost in the way of just a straight up music video where you know, some director has an idea on this is the story that I want to portray, and you know, whatever it is, they might have a dance break in it for 30 seconds or something like that, and then it's more walking or whatever it is. So I don't know, it's a bit of a different project. It's more artistic, I'd say. You know, yeah, so hopefully you guys got something out of that. That's potentially the first of quite a few stories. I take it.
It's an overall story, so it continues on, and there's a part before that too. So you see what happens before.
There you go.
So, yeah.
I said that I should appear as some old master at the end of it, but we're still in talks about that one, on whether I will actually get a starring role and teaching everyone how it works. But who knows? That's up to him. It's a lot. Anyway, that is that. This is my favourite part of the show, and especially on this episode. I know there's probably a lot of you out there that like trance, and I like trance on occasion. My problem with trance is that there are a lot of tunes that you listen to that go for 9 minutes, and 8 of those suck, where nothing happens. You get, you know, someone wailing about seas and oceans and moons and shit, and nothing in particular is actually going on. This next tune that we're about to feature, these are real A-listers in the trance scene. If you're into trance, you'll probably know these guys. You'll probably even know this song. If you're not into trance, I'd consider this a really good gateway for you to get into trance. This is a tune by Heatbeat, and it's called Chow. was Heatbeat, Chow. Now that is out now on Captivating Sounds Armada. Armada is Armin's label. Armin van Buuren, for those who really don't know anything about trance.
Oh, God. Well, we don't know Armin van Buuren.
You don't know
yourself. Just kill yourself. Like, simple.
Now, what I like about that song, besides the fact it really makes me want to dance, is it's different to a lot of trance. In, what I've sort of ragged on before is this idea that there is a lot of trance where you have these long periods of time and nothing happens. And that's almost like a bridge between the kind of electro I love and trance. But it's still trancey enough that I suppose trance folks would really like it. I know you're really big into trance, aren't you, Len?
Yeah. God, I love that song. That's just... I don't have anything to say. That's just one of the best songs I've heard all year. If I heard that out, I would have killed myself dancing. I would have danced that whole song. It's trance. I love trance, but in particular that song that's just really good. I mean, yeah.
And what about you, Dan?
It's for people who know me personally. I put hardstyle hard trance here. I put trance up here. I love trance more than any style of music. It is. It's just so uplifting. Like, uplifting trance is what I love. One of my all-time favourite tracks is Rank 1 Airwave. Another one to put up there. Rank 1 again, LED there, BY. There's just so many tracks that you don't hear out. You can't hear them out because, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of trance clubs. There are a few events now happening in Melbourne where the first two sets are complete trance, uplifting trance, and I just love it. Like, that's my favourite part of the night, to just kind of listen to some good music. You can just chill out. You can have a really long rock. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my 147, 148 BPM hard trance, and I can have a really good strong rock to it. But simple fact is,
you can dance for like
trance. Yeah, you're gonna dance for the rest of your life, basically.
I just think that trance as a genre works really well on a monthly basis. Like, there were trance events that used to happen here in Sydney on a month-to-month basis that used to go really well, and I think they did attempt it on a weekly basis, and it just dies in the arse. I don't think that scene is really prepared to sort of go out on a weekly basis. But in reference to that tune, I'm with Len. I can't really talk highly enough about that tune. I can't really talk highly enough about Heatbeat either. We do, later on, there is another Heatbeat song that features in a segment. They're doing really good things to start with, which is cool. Like, that song in itself got played on a State of Trance podcast somewhere. It got, I think just on the radio show, it got played in the Above and Beyond podcast. It's done the rounds already, so we're probably probably sort of 3 or 4 months after its release. But the reason, I suppose what we want to feature in these things is tunes that, to our audience, may be new. So, to our audience, you might not have heard the Splinta song. I mean, we had one person come in and say, I didn't know Splinta was Brenton. By the way, really? If you didn't know that, you'd aren't friends with him on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else, because he does talk about it constantly.
Oh, hey, by the way, with that track, let me just add, because I didn't even say it, the reason why I brought up Rank 1 Airwave and, my top songs that, I'm putting up there within the trance music industry, I put that up there within my top 10. Like, that's an amazing song. When you first brought that track to me, man, and I listened to it, I straight out emailed you back saying that is fucking amazing. And it is, it's just a great song all over.
It is definitely a sick tune. Now, one of the other things that we probably do want to bring up in our features is that we don't use any songs that we don't have permission for, because it's just not right to do that. So that's probably why you may not see any sort of exclusive. Who knows? Maybe down the track that's a direction we go into. But I do want to really give a huge amount of thanks to Heatbeat for giving us permission to use that. I mean, this is a big time act. These guys are they're touring Australia. They may have just finished a tour in Australia by the time that this actually comes out. They're touring around the world. They're playing big stages in big places. So we're a fledgling sort of idea. We've been going 2 episodes so far. And, you know, whatever it is that we achieve at our highest aspiration is nothing compared to what these guys are doing right now. So if you are watching Heatbeat, I don't know why you would, but if you are, thank you from the bottom of my Shaboogen show heart, as it were. That's a horrible way of putting it, but thanks very much. We appreciate it. And for our fans, if you're not into trance, and there are a lot of folks who are like, trance is gay, I hate it. Like, have a listen to these dudes, because one of the main problems that a lot of people have with trance is not hard enough.
Yeah.
And something like this, the bass line it's so pumping, it's so driving. This might be your gateway into music like this. And the song we have later, as well, it's called Rocker Monster, which is very, very fucking appropriate. But you'll hear from that as well, this is their style, this is what they like to do. So,
this is the real deal. It's the real deal. Perfect for shuffling too. Listen to Heatbeat, follow them on their Facebook page, vote for them, best song of the year. I'm serious, I love this sort of stuff. And there is, as Mark said, there's that sort of trance which is a bit too soft, there's huge breakdowns. This is the stuff this is made for rockers.
Yes.
This is for us, man.
So we will have all the details below on where you can follow these guys. These guys have a Twitter account, these guys are on Facebook, everything like that. And you know what, when I asked for permission to use this song, they got back to us really quickly, so they do have a lot of fan input as well. Get out there, buy Heatbeat. I don't buy anything. No, I probably do. But but yeah, get out there, buy Heatbeat. Fucking awesome. Simple as that. Project Style. It's out there. I'm going to put this to you right now. It's really out there. Have a watch of it, and we'll have a chat about it after. This is the first segment of Project Style on The Running Man. Project Style is a radically different approach to the process of learning how to be a better rocker. It attempts to give people the tools to break down their own dancing and the dancing of others in order to aid in the design of a style that truly represents the way they wish to express themselves through rocking, while still placing a high premium on correctness and proficiency. Before we get going though, I'd like to be very clear up front on 2 things. Firstly, Project Style is not a set of basic tutorials designed to simply spoon-feed you a set of steps to learn. In reality, it is a set of concepts designed to expand your understanding of the steps in the dance, which requires you to have a basic understanding of how to do these steps in the first place. If you don't have that understanding currently, be aware that it's very possible you may not have the easiest time grasping what it is that we're talking about, and we are not going to go over those basics at any point because it's been done plenty of times. Secondly, Project Style is not going to appeal to everybody. In reality, there are 2 types of rockers out there. There are those folks who take it seriously as a passion and have a burning desire to improve, and there are those who simply rock for the hell of it. Whichever one of those groups you identify with is fine with us, because here at We Dance Hard, we love rocking and the people who rock for whatever reason. That being said, Project Style aims to be very specific and very detailed about things that most people wouldn't ever consider giving any amount of thought to. So if you're not the kind of person who is likely to care about that stuff, be aware that you may get nothing out of this. With all that being said, we're not trying to deter anyone from watching, but rather just trying to give you a real idea of what to expect. Now, if you've got this far, you've probably earned the right to go further. So let's get into it. Over the past 6 years, rocking has gone from this to this. Whatever your feelings are about the Melbourne Shuffle's journey, it is now apparent that the running man is the most important step in modern rocking. It has moved from simply another step in a rocker's repertoire to be used to create variation to the primary foundation step from which all the other steps flow from. Because of this change, there is an even greater need to both be as proficient as possible with your running man, as well as choose or design the best running man for your style. But what kind of running man's best for you? What style projects the image that you want to portray? Do you wish to look effortless and smooth? Or aggressive and powerful? Maybe somewhere in between? There seem to be infinite possibilities, but how do you begin? The best way to start is to increase your understanding. The triangle theory is a visual tool that represents each individual part of the running man and gives you an easy way to help design the kind of running man you want, as well as to have a basic understanding of the energy consumption of different kinds of running man. It is by no means a replacement for practicing the steps, but it can certainly be used as a guideline to keep you focused in a particular direction. A triangle has 3 sides, 3 points, and an area. Each of these represents a part of the running man that can be worked on and subsequently changed if you so choose. And the area of the triangle represents the total distance that you will travel during the course of 1 rep of the running man. Don't worry, we know that you're probably confused right now. Hopefully you won't be when we're done. Side A represents the pathway that your leg takes to rise to the midpoint of the running man. As a standard, it is generally a diagonal straight line. However, in the Malaysian running man, for instance, the leg arcs upwards in a convex fashion. Point 1 represents both the height that your leg rises to, as well as the forward position of the midpoint of your running man. Changing either of these will change the overall look of your running man. Side B represents the pathway that your leg takes to hit the ground after the midpoint. As a standard, it is generally a diagonal straight line. However, unlike the upwards motion in side A, there is very little that can be changed here. In fact, this is mostly affected by where point 1 is located. Point 2 represents the point where your foot hits the ground from the downward step. In the standard modern running man, the foot lands flat on the ground. In older styles, people have landed with their heel up. There are many other variations, all of which can change the look of your running man in different ways. Side C represents the overall length of your running man. Changing this can have a dramatic effect on the end result. Point 3 represents the point where your back foot ends up during the back step of your running man. Like point 2, you can plant your foot in various ways to create different looks. But be aware, the look that this creates is quite subtle. In addition to these parts, there are 4 other areas of the step to consider as well. There's the forward lean, the sideways lean, which leads to what is commonly referred to as the crossover running man, your facing angle, and overall floor movement. Everything that we've covered so far refers to the mechanics of the running man, in terms of the individual parts of the step that can be changed and customized to suit your particular style. Beyond these individual areas though, are 2 fundamental concepts that cover the entire step. Those concepts are effort and energy. Effort refers to the amount of force that you put into each facet of the step. The look of any individual facet can be changed by simply applying more effort, even while keeping the exact same mechanic. This is the key to getting the harder look, or maybe to give emphasis to a particular part. The opposite is also true when trying to get a softer look. The concept of energy is contextual. It refers both to the total amount of energy you have to put into a particular dance, and to the amount of energy a part of the dance takes. No matter how fit you are, the amount of energy you have is finite. So it always makes sense to use the smallest amount of energy necessary to achieve your desired look. One way to do that is through the mechanics. Earlier, we referred to the area of the triangle representing the total distance that you have to travel during 1 rep of the running man. To break this down further, the total distance refers to not just the length of your running man, but also the distance it takes to reach both points 1 and 2. Say you had a fairly standard running man right now, but you were aiming for a look where a long running man was the most important part that you were trying to project. In this situation, the height of your running man may not necessarily be so important to your look. If you were to keep the height that you were already used to, but increase the length, you would be increasing the total distance you would have to cover by a larger amount.
resulting in every rep of the Running Man taking more energy than you were using previously. What if you simply lowered the height in this situation? You would still get your increase in length, but your overall distance would not change, and thusly the amount of energy required also wouldn't change. Changing the mechanics of your Running Man to focus on the areas you want to project most can change the dynamics on the amount of energy you use, potentially giving you the ability to put more energy into increasing effort or simply dancing for longer. Although there is a huge amount of information here, the biggest thing to be aware of is that you don't necessarily have to take it in all at once. This segment attempts to cover as many of the decisions that rockers have to make with regards to their Running Man and present them to you in this way, to give you the ability to pick and choose different things to incorporate into your dancing. You may not aim to completely change your Running Man, but understanding the different ways that you can change it gives you more options. Say there's a quiet part of the song. You can change the mechanics of your Running Man to better reflect that, perhaps reducing the length and the height. The biggest thing to know is that the music should always dictate your style, and understanding more of the things that you can do always helps you to communicate that better. Lastly, if you only take one thing out of this, to potentially improve your existing Running Man, understanding the larger concepts of energy and effort is really the most important, as making choices on how you use those things can have an effect on any style. At any point though, if you're looking to change your Running Man mechanically, understanding each part and making key decisions on those parts will go a great way towards doing it. Thanks very much for watching.
Okay, that was the first segment of Project Style. First thing I'm going to put out there is, as I was talking about before, that uses Heatbeat Rocker Monster in the background. I don't have the label to hand.
It's the same.
It's the same label. It's on Captivating Sounds Armada. So buy that tune as well. That tune's a little bit older, but I think it's brilliant. Porter Robinson was playing that when he was playing out live. That guy's massive at the moment. That song is doing the rounds. It's amazing. Go buy it, or you're an idiot. Simple as that. Onto Project Style. Now, the very first thing that I suppose I should say is that's out there. It's very in-depth about a very tiny thing, potentially. I should probably also apologize because it was about 150,000 fucking degrees in that car park. It was really, really hot. So if you're like, why is that splitty black guy there? That's why. I guess the thoughts, I know what I'm trying to get across with Project Style. I know that we've talked about it a little bit, but I guess I'll kind of go to you two first to get a bit of an outsider's perspective, and then I'll try and explain afterwards what the idea was. So, Len, am I on the mark? Am I just a fucking raving lunatic? Who knows?
No, you're the real deal, man.
Thank you. Isn't that nice? Tia?
I wouldn't be putting my time and effort into this show if Mark didn't know what he was talking about. So, Project Style, this is the culmination of what he does. This is who he is. He breaks down shuffling into a science, and he puts it out there in a way that lets us take what we want from it and move forward, evolve the dance. And that's what it's about. It's about developing your own style, pushing things to a new limit, breaking those limits,
and then go and doing it again. Like,
just having fun. That's
repeating the process.
That's it. It's all about pushing it and having fun.
Cool. Hiltzy, you're a bit on the outside for all of this.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until obviously not very long before, but maybe it was DEF CON we had a chat about it. I think I spoke to Len about it, obviously, and then we obviously did the footage for DEF CON. Oh wait, no, sorry, we went back in time for that. Sorry.
You went back in time.
And look, I mean, Len said it, and I was going to quote Brenton. He said, "You've broken shuffling down to a science." And I mean, if you go back and and watch the intro, or sorry, the preview to this show, I say it straight out that you are you're an inspiration. You're a shuffling genius within this shuffling community and world. And look, people that don't know, you're going to be like, he's black and he's fat. Like, as you said, like, they don't know, he doesn't know what he's talking about. For anyone who knows you, they know to respect you, that, you are a genius when it comes to it, and you're going to say it as it is, and you're going to say, you're shit, you're good, do this, try this. And like, for anyone who pays attention to your dancing, like, it's flawless. You may not be the fittest person in the world, you may not be the tallest, you may not be the shortest, you may not have fucking bloody this thick legs with size 13 shoes like Matt that enhances everything, but but the fact of the matter is, like, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and no one in the world can do your job right now. No one can sit here and host this show, and no one can, do it better than you. It's as simple as that. Like, I could sit there and say, here's the triangle, fucking, and then I just start dancing, and that's how I do it. But I can't break it down to a science as you do. And I mean, when I first watched the footage, as everyone's just seen, it made perfect sense to me. I can see where you're coming from, and most people, I have, in the past, thought to myself, I've looked at Pay's style, he lifts his legs a lot. I looked at Matt's style, the longer running man, and I thought to myself, well, what if I try that? What if I try this? What if I do it like this? What if I cross my legs over? And I've done what you've just explained, and it changed my style. I did once have a timeline video up, and you watched my timeline go from horrible to getting better to amazing for how long I've been dancing for, right? And then there's no videos after that within the timeline, but I've got footage, and I've seen footage of me dancing, and within, weeks to potentially, a month or two, my style changed so drastically because I was enhancing the length of my running man. I was lifting my legs higher, and it basically helped me progress so much. So I can't stress enough, guys, pay attention to what Mark has just taught you and what he's just spoken about. Give it a test, give it a try, and you will see that it will allow you to dance for longer, or it will give you the illusion that you are dancing harder. You won't need to stomp the floor and put holes in the floor like Fat John.
we know someone who did that. By the way, didn't mention it in the feedback. Fat John, you left a amazing comment on one of those videos. Thanks a lot, from the heart, bro, etc. But yeah. One thing, firstly, if you see my head expanding, that's not Len putting a special effect on the video. That's just me getting a gigantic head based on what these shuffling folks are talking about. I suppose the thing that I want to get across on Project Style, look, there will be a lot of people who will watch this video and go, what the fuck is this guy on about? Like, it's so triangles and shit, I just want to have a dance, right? And cool. If that's you, that's you. You don't have to pay attention to this. I suppose the biggest thing is that the triangle, it's really just meant as a tool to help people visualize different parts of what they're doing. Now, I know that I demonstrated the Malaysian running man fucking horribly in that video, I will add. So, folks out there who do the Malaysian running man, folks out there from California, please don't kill me, especially given I'm going to Malaysia next year. I suppose the biggest thing is that if you just visualize these ideas, if you think about, okay, on the way up, this is this part of the triangle, I'm only going to work on this particular part today. I want to come up this far. This is the way I want to do it. Or if you're going downwards, like, this is how far I'm going to travel. This is the way it's going to be. And then the length of the running man and what you do when your feet hit the ground and everything like that. If you can visualize each part of it separately, you can then pick out that part and go, okay, this is what I want to do with this particular part. And then essentially it's kind of like checking boxes, and you stick it all together, and that's what you end up with at the end of it. And I suppose the other thing to get out of it is that once you can master all of these particular things, like if you've got, turn, or how you're actually traveling across the floor, or these particular different types of running man, it's conceivable that you can then, without doing anything other than the running man, you could come up with an entire style. Like, you could be standing straight on and doing a small running man, and then you expand to a larger one during a different part of the song, and then you do this, and you do this, and then you put your heels up at some point, and all that kind of stuff. It's all about these minor changes that then give you more tools in your arsenal, so to speak. And this was the easiest way that I could come up with to try and explain that. This is a process that I've gone through, that Len's gone through, that Hiltzy's gone through, that Brenton's gone through, that all of us have actually gone through at particular points. We might not have spoken about it like that, because I don't think everyone talks in triangles. And if you do, wow, really odd. But this is a process that we're all, every rocker at every point, well, every rocker at some point goes through, at least once. You're like, how do I do this? How do I expand all this? And one of the reasons we're not doing a lot of video analysis right now is because we want to get these tools out there first, to firstly, A, give you the ability to analyze stuff, but then secondly, that we can talk in terms that, like, we're creating a language for our conversation, which is, okay, this guy's using this length of a running man, so you can see here, this is what it actually brings to his dance, and like, etc., etc. We explained kind of why we covered the running man first. Hopefully we did.
Yeah, it's important.
It
It's
is.
the foundation of the shuffle.
Which
Or
is
at least
weird.
the shuffle today.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you don't do any shuffling, Tim.
Yes, this is a big point. I mean, although we've come out and said this is the foundational step, this is where all shuffling comes from now, that's not a reason to then not shuffle or anything like that.
I want to say something. Just at the start of that project style, where it showed why the running man, and it had that old footage of the old school shuffle people at a bush off.
Yeah.
Doing, I remember those days. That's when I started, and I didn't even know the running man existed. All I used to do was the shuffle, what you saw in that old footage, and learning the running man. That just evolved my understanding of the dance overnight, essentially. And then it gets to the point where you're pretty much doing all running man and no shuffle, and then you see how the shuffle becomes a key factor, and then that pushes you even further. So, yeah, just I used to do that old style. I just want to say that. That's how it is.
I suppose my thing is that, I mean, funnily enough, I don't do a great amount of running man right now in my particular style of dance. But at the end of the day, the shuffle step now is really where the variation comes from. So the basis, I guess, when you're actually watching a step, what creates that, I guess in the Melbourne style of dancing, and this is kind of what we focus on here at We Dance Hard, because this is the style that we like, is, I'll contrast it to what we were talking about earlier with Tim, T1M. Sorry, please explain that. Tim's variation comes from, he'll just be doing the running man, and then at some point he'll do some spin, or he'll do like some kick or another spin. He doesn't really do much other than spin. But that's where his variation point comes from. For us, our variation point comes from the shuffle. So there'll be like a shuffle to the left, or a shuffle to the right, or something like that. That's the focal point of this style. The running man is more kind of the basic. Like, this is your standard mode, is you're going to be doing this. And then at some point you're going to create this shuffle. And you can see the difference. I mean, to me personally, I like where we are now versus where we've come from. And there are people that don't. And you're fine to do that. But I guess the thing is, even if you believe that the older style is better, you can still choose to use the running man as just your point of difference with your variation or something like that. And these things are still going to apply to you. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that no matter what you believe about shuffling, whether the running man is important, whether it's not, whether it's everything, learn how to do it properly. And that sort of idea that we've presented to can be a way for you to do that. So that was the idea, and look, project style, it's something that, you know, I'm very passionate about anyway. So I really want to hear a lot of feedback on that. And if it's too sort of up here and your understanding's not there and you don't really... I want to hear all the sorts of feedback, especially about project style, because I think it'll be interesting, and that's really a conversation starter. Even if your comment is, why the fuck do you talk about triangles all the time? That I want to know. And I think that about covers project style, unless you two have anything more to say about it.
Not really, and I mean, I hope people can see examples of this. I can think of an example for me. My favourite video of myself that I've ever seen. Everyone's going to be picky on their own style. It's the same in any sense. You see yourself dance, but I don't like how I'm doing that. I could do that better. I could do this better. There's a video that I've got. It's of me at DEF CON in Melbourne though. So yes, we had a small version of DEF CON. It was like, you know, house music here and hard style over here. It's a video of me and Oscar rocking on stage. That video shows a point where I was trying to incorporate both styles of Running Man in terms of the start of the video, and people may or may not know what video I'm talking about. I'm not sure if
we'll put a link.
Anyway, yeah, we'll put a link for it. It shows me starting off. It was a really hot day. We were dancing on stage for Baxter for the SHL stuff. Yeah.
Is the video with Pay in it?
It's not the one with Pay. It's me and Oscar dancing on stage. It shows me, I'm dancing, you know, knees coming up high. You'll see that we're on a really small stage. There's not much room to dance, so we have to incorporate that. I'm lifting my legs up nice and high, waiting for a specific part of the song to then lengthen my Running Man instead of heightening it. And you'll see clearly in that. You know, I do a little spin, it gets to that part of the song, bam, I start lengthening my Running Man. It's a classic example there of me trying to incorporate it myself. I haven't noticed it as such with other dancers that I've watched. And I mean, as I mentioned earlier, Pay was always about lifting his legs up nice and high and really kind of just rocking hard, whereas Matt was very technical and he lengthened his Running Man and put a lot of shuffling within it to make it look like it was just, you know, flowing very nicely. So just think of it that way, guys. Definitely think of it that way.
But a part of the shuffling step's going to be in there. There'll probably be some parts on spins. I know there's going to be a part on music theory. So when you then combine all these things together, essentially it's all going to be shit you have available. So I know I can do the shuffling step this any number of ways. I know I can do the Running Man this number of ways and things like that. And at worst, you're going to have this gigantic sphere of stuff to pick to craft your style, or at best, you're going to have all of these sphere of things available to you at once to then go, okay, well, this part of the song feels like this, so this is what I'm going to do. And then this part of the song feels like this, so this is what I'm going to do. And so on and so forth.
I think it's a bit of conscious learning to begin with, where you are putting effort into learning new things, learning new moves. But once you're out there dancing to the music that you love, you'll get to a point where this just happens.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it and it just comes out. And you will incorporate all of these different elements into your dancing without even knowing it. So...
Very true. I mean, learning all this stuff is always the hardest part. Like, mastering absolutely every single part of it. And one of the things where, you know, down the track we plan to video all of us running the workshops that Brenton runs. And being a part of that, he's got a specific theory as well on how he can do. I know Hiltzy has has theories on how he does things, with how he teaches people and, you know, how he visualizes stuff. So this is my theory. There are others, and we plan to incorporate a lot of these higher theories together to give you guys the most options. So if you want to learn, watch this space. If you don't, watch it anyway. Don't switch off. Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, that's project style. That is the end of our show, guys. Thank you very much for watching again. The biggest part, the hot topic, that was suggested by a viewer. So thank you very much, SDF0. Appreciated your feedback. We want to hear more of it. I know Harry Rowans is out there. He's given us some ideas on things. we want to hear from all you guys. Be a part of the conversation. See that callback from what I did before. It's very important. What you say affects what we do and the way that we actually progress forward from here. So if you we've obviously got all of the contact details below. We've sort of spammed the hell out of them, but I'm just going to do it again. At Shaboogen Show on Twitter, the Shaboogen Show at WeDanceHard.com for the email, and the We Dance Hard We Dance Hard fan page. Get on there on Facebook as well, and tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you don't want to hear. And we'll go from there. Now, ordinarily we would sign Hiltzy off and we would do our close, but we still have Hiltzy here for a very specific reason, and that is that Hiltzy is going to be in Sydney next month. Is that correct?
Correct, you are.
Correct. It's always good. So next month, it is November now, yes. Next month, 28th of December, there is a party at King Street in Newcastle. Now, all the details are going to be below on this party. Brenton's going to be playing, I know that much. We are all going to be there, filming and doing stuff. Come in and say hello.
Newcastle Rockers will be there.
Newcastle Rockers will be there as well. Len, try and get him to dance. If you can do that, we haven't been able to for a really long time. So, you know what? Pay him money and split it with me if it happens, okay? But, we'll all be there, we'll be dancing. Say hello if you're in the Newcastle area. If you're going to fly in for it, sure. Maybe not, but sure. If you want to come in for it, say hello to us, that'd be cool. But we're all going to be there, rocking out, having a little bit of fun. And it should be fun for all. Hiltzy, you looking forward to it?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, obviously the last few times I've been to Sydney were just for DEF CON. It's going to be good to be able to come down to just hang out and go to a couple events, but just more or less to hang out and have a good rock and get some good footage.
Also to sleep on this couch. Pretty sure that's what's going to happen too at We Dance Hard HQ.
So we will be filming on location at the end of year party, the next episode of the show.
Yes. So some of our I'll be honest, we haven't totally decided whether our features are going to be in it again. But they very well might be. So things might happen, things might not.
So if you make the effort to come to that party, there will be shuffling footage of you on the show. You may even feature on the show.
There you go. So you've heard it here first. He's the director.
We want you.
We want you. He's the director. So schmooze this dude and you're in. We accept money.
And those details again.
Be there. Right. And once again, I really appreciate your support. Thanks very much for everything so far. Nothing negative so far. I don't anticipate that's going to continue, especially in the wake of us savaging Tim earlier. But who knows? If it is, cool. If not, also cool. Thanks a lot. We'll see you again really soon. Alright, I think it's time to watch some videos again. I do want to give a shout out to a couple of friends, Lee and Giannis, who got married yesterday. I was at the wedding. It was a really nice affair. Just wanted to say best of luck, congratulations, hope everything goes well. And now it's time to shit on some shufflers. Melbourne Shuffle Speedcore. Has it dropped yet? I can't even... Okay, does anyone out there listen to Speedcore? Maybe you can explain it to me. Because this is literally just noise right now. Is that in the song or are you just talking? Speedcore's not meant to be shuffled to. Speedcore's not meant to be listened to. Okay, this is awful. My eyes, my friggin' eyes. Here we go, this is gonna be good. Shuffling 1 month and a half experience. Dude is an afro. And I was talking about dudes rocking with afros earlier. I like it. Random baby! You saw the random baby, right? You're not horrible, but you've been rocking for a month and a half. Video yourself trying a move or... don't do that. That's just a horrible stepping thing. It's not cool. This baby, man. Bass breakers tryout. Okay, once again, recurring theme. Don't pick songs that you can't dance to. And then this kick with the spin that's like 4,000 times too slow. Alright, what do we got here? Wow. Because going off beat was worth it for that spin. Video off sync due to YouTube. I reckon it's not. Call me crazy on this. Be honest with the world, man. Like, sometimes you just don't dance on beat. See, you're just not dancing fast enough to that song. It has nothing to do with YouTube. Yeah, like, you're heaps not dancing to that song. Heaps not? English. Do you reckon you got anything usable out of this so far? If you can't do tectonic, don't start a video with it. Also, you missed the drop horribly. Oh, reverse running man. Why? When will the message get out there? You're not Grant. You can't do it. You just did it again. Alright. This is the song you chose? Really? This video is actually quite awesome, but fucking hell, that song. Really? What song is this? Where do you find... Like, is this off Wild FM? Is this from a Skits mix that I don't know about? Nick Skits is back. I saw a poster for it. Is he making tunes like this? Do you know the Muffin Man? Is that the name of this song? So I was like, man, I wish I wasn't here for this. It's fucking boring.